Ooh, we're
Adding more.
again. But I see some supercharged batteries. Let's grab
There's
them
always
and get
stuff from the
powered up.
garden, so this thing is filling up really fast. Isn't this filling up fast, Ollie?
Oh, another one.
It really is.
There's another one.
Cheese.
Cheese.
Cheese, right.
Good morning. Or afternoon or evening or whatever you're watching this. It's the morning here. Today, we're always making a bunch of things in the kitchen. My hair is crazy. Today we are going to be making some fried tofu bites, which is a staple in our house. Basically, we're gonna use those on tacos, but you could eat them like they're just like fried little, it looks like little fried chicken bites. We have our tofu being pressed right now. This is just, you really don't need this. You can just press tofu yourself, like by putting like a towel around it and putting like something heavy on top. You could use a cast iron just to like push out the water, but this basically does that for us. Let's see. You can see here, pouring out the water. And you just open this and you have your tofu there. So, put you guys right back. So basically, rinse my hands quick. Make sure we're nice and clean. And so what I do with tofu, this is like my main go-to with tofu. First we're gonna make this sauce. I have like chicken scratch here because this is just my like marinade that I always go to and I have it like written out. So we're gonna start with, actually I'm gonna start with nutritional yeast because it's dry, so I wanna use this. I can use it wet after. Anyways, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast to start. And nutritional yeast, I mentioned, I think I put it in the butter video, but you're putting a lot more in this. But nutritional yeast is a great addition to any plant-based diet or any diet. There's a lot of vitamin B in nutritional yeast, B12, which is super important if you're on a plant-based diet. It also is a complete protein along with tofu. Tofu itself is such a great protein source, really low in fat, really high in protein. And as I mentioned with the nutritional yeast, they are both complete proteins. So they have all 9 essential amino acids. Phenomenal thing to add to your diet. So 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and then we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of liquid aminos, which is like soy sauce. It's basically like a soy sauce, but much less salty, less sodium content, which is great for pretty much anyone's diet. We all consume too much salt. There's salt in so much food. Liquid aminos, it says soy protein seasoning, gluten-free. Literally the ingredients in this are vegetable protein from soybeans and water. Very pure, very delicious. We use it in a lot of stuff. Okay, 2 tablespoons of liquid aminos or soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and then I'm gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, onion powder, and smoked paprika, which are truly my, really my 3 main go-tos when it comes to seasonings. And of course I have this beautiful drawer with like glass, glass, whatever these are called, and they're filled with like, little labels and all cute. And here I am still just using the ones with labels and not even going to my ones that I have filled myself because I use these so much that I would just go through those so quick. So I'm like, whatever. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika. This is citric acid. Citric acid. So this is actually what I have, this is like an example of what I have all of these in, but apparently it is not even worth the time half the time if you cook this much. I'm going to use, I say like an 1/8 teaspoon. I literally just eyeball. I just put a little in. Citric acid is a naturally occurring acid in citrus fruits. So as you can imagine, it gives like a little brightener to pretty much any dish. So that's that. We're going to also add in 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. 1, 2, and then 1 tablespoon of hot sauce. You can use literally, is that what I have? 1 tablespoon of hot sauce. You can use any kind of hot sauce. I love sriracha, so that's usually my go-to, but sometimes I'll use like Tabasco, but any hot sauce will do. So add that, and then I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of water. Tablespoon of water, and that's everything. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and then 1 tablespoon of hot sauce, 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, 1 tablespoon of water, and a little bit of citric acid. If you don't have citric acid at home and you have everything else, obviously you could adjust and like you don't have to use it. But I really love the brightening that gives. I kind of just mix it up a bit here. Make it into this like nice like paste-ish. Not really a paste, but you know, good enough. And then we're going to break up our tofu. So tofu comes in a block like this. It says Tofuture. Tofuture. That's literally just because that's the brand of the tofu press. And then you can see the little like dots on the bottom from where it pushes it down here. Anyways, not important. Take your block of tofu and just like literally crumble it up into pieces. You can do big, you can do small. I like to do little bite-sized pieces. Like imagine if it was like bite-sized buffalo wing size pieces. So break everything up, put it in. It took me, honestly, quite some time to figure out how to cook really well with tofu. I feel like people think tofu isn't great unless you have it in like miso soup, which is pretty much one of the only ways that I feel like people actually eat it. And while tofu in miso soup is great, that's usually a soft tofu. This is actually an extra firm tofu. There's different textures and densities, I don't know what to call it, of tofu. And these firmer or extra firm ones are super good for things like frying up. The softer tofu is really good if you want to blend it into, you could blend it into a smoothie, you could blend it into something where with some powder where you're going to make a dough, a tofu dough. I've done that before and made like little tofu buns out of them. But if you're going to use, that's what I'm saying, soft tofu is great for soup and like blending. Firm, extra firm, medium is better for things like what I'm doing, fried tofu tacos, baking tofu in the oven. One other thing to note is I always freeze my tofu before we use it. So I freeze it, and then when you thaw it, the texture is totally different. It becomes really spongy once you thaw it after freezing. And that spongy texture, which is like this, soaks in so much flavor, especially if you're gonna make like a marinade. So that's just like a really, really wonderful benefit. Great benefit to freezing your tofu, absorbing so much flavor. So now just mixing this around until everything is pretty nicely coated. Okay, this is what it looks like over here once the marinade is all mixed in. I'm gonna cover this and just let it sit in the fridge for, I don't know, maybe probably a couple hours actually. Anywhere from like maybe 30 minutes, an hour to overnight. Smells so good. Doesn't look that appetizing yet, but you just wait. Okay, so the first part, you make a marinade for the tofu, and then you're gonna make a dry rub. So basically when the tofu's done marinating, you'll throw it all into this dry rub, shake it around, and then it'll get this really nice coating and it'll have all that like marinade sauce like underneath. And then we're gonna throw it in avocado oil later to fry it up and make these beautiful crunchy little pieces. So to make this dry, what do we wanna call it? Dry dredge, whatever part of this process, 1/2 cup of cornstarch. Which one is cornstarch? They look the same. 1/2 cup of cornstarch, which is gonna be pretty much, I think, most of my cornstarch here. Whoop. A little extra. 1/2 cup of cornstarch. Keep looking to make sure I'm using the right one. Okay, 1/2 cup of cornstarch, and then we're gonna do 1/2 cup of flour, but my flour's back there. So we're gonna go on to the baking powder. 1 tablespoon of baking powder. This is a 1/2 tablespoon, so I'm doing 2 of these. So we have our half. We have our 1 tablespoon of baking powder, our 1/2 cup of cornstarch, and I'm gonna go get the 1/2 cup of organic all-purpose flour. Of course, you can use non-organic, but let me go grab that as I go get this flour. I see all my flours in the pantry. And I'm pretty sure years ago, all I thought that you would cook with is like all-purpose flour. I don't even think I knew that there were so many different kinds. But now that I make bread like crazy, okay, 1/2 cup of flour. I think I seriously have like 15 different kinds of flour at our house, which sounds crazy because I didn't even know there was that many. Let me just think of some of the ones I have. So of course I have a couple different kinds of gluten-free flours, you know, like an all-purpose gluten-free flour blend. You know, of course, things like almond flour, which we make, oat flour, cassava flour. Those are all gluten-free flours, I believe. And then we have, you know, regular all-purpose organic flour that's not gluten-free. We have whole wheat flour, which I use to feed my starters. We have semolina flour, which I use to put on top of homemade English muffins. We have white rice flour and brown rice flour. The white rice flour I use on top of the sourdough loaves to give them like a beautiful design. Brown rice flour I use for my gluten-free sourdough starter. Psyllium husk, I guess that's not flour, that's powder. The flour list is endless. It goes on and on and on. Rye flour, there's so many. That's fascinating in and of itself. Okay, 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and then we're gonna add a bunch of seasonings. So we're gonna add about 1 teaspoon of all of these different seasonings, and a lot of them are kind of hot. So 1/2 teaspoon of, oh, I'm wrong. 1 teaspoon and 1/4 teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1 teaspoon smoked paprika, which again, those are my my trifecta that I always go to. And then we're gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, probably closer to 1/8 because white pepper is really, really spicy. 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and then 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of salt. I always do seasoned salt. I really love Lowry's seasoned salt. I just love it. The added flavor is phenomenal. So we need our 1 teaspoon. Okay. 1 teaspoon of garlic smoked and garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika. Okay, here we go. 1. 1. And another 1. Okay. Have those 3. Putting the wrong top on, putting the red smoked paprika top. Okay. And then have those in there, and then we're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And I said a quarter, but closer to like an 1/8 teaspoon of white pepper, because white pepper is really quite potent. So let's do about a 1/8 of that, a 1/2 of the 1/4 teaspoon. And then we're gonna do 1 full teaspoon of black pepper. Again, I don't need to probably be so lazy as to just leaving these in the things they come in, but I go through them so fast, so it's easier. And then last, we're gonna do the 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of flours. Guess I'll just take that whole top off. Knocking things all over. Okay. Now we can put the rest of these away and I'll be right back. Okay. This is what it looks like from this side. Just do a nice little mix. Get everything just, you know, evenly dispersed. That looks good. And I will cover this and I will just set it aside off to the side until we're ready to use it later. And this usually, I can use this for like 2 full rounds of tofu and then all the flour will be gone. So next we are going to be making cashew cheese from my cookbook. This is another recipe in our house that we make every week. So to start, you need 2 cups of cashews. I love to use roasted cashews, but you don't have to. This is about half and half roasted, half not. And you can either soak them overnight in the fridge in water so they soften, or you can boil water and soak them in boiled water for like, ideally closer to like 20 minutes. And then dump it in. You also, I don't really measure very much anymore because I just do this all the time and you can kind of eyeball it. But this is the 2 cups of cashews with 1 to 2 cups of water. So I'm just gonna dump it all in instead of like getting different water. It's not like the prettiest looking thing. Actually, you know what? I don't need quite all this water. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna add the cashews. Oops. There we go. Cashews, a couple fell out. There we go. Cashews are in. 2 cups of cashews. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons-ish of lemon juice. This is like the end, so I'm just getting stuff everywhere. That looks good to me. It's close enough to 2. And I spilled lemon juice on the counter. Okay. Here we go. 2 cups of cashews soaked. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I write down 3 cups of water, but honestly, I would, and then I say like, cause like people like to have hot cheese. So you then cook it down on the stove. So like some of the water evaporates, but if you don't want to cook it down on the stove, just put like closer to 1 to 2 cups of water. And then it'll just be like a nice consistency that you don't even have to do anything on the stove. Okay, next is 3/4 cup of nutritional yeast. As I mentioned, big staple in plant-based recipes. So 3/4 teaspoon, wait, what did I say? 3/4 cup. There is 2 3/4. As I mentioned too, like you're gonna use a lot more nutritional yeast in recipes that are a cheesy recipe like this one. Such delicious flavor in there. Okay, next, 3/4 cup of nutritional yeast, 2 teaspoons of salt. You'd think I would have memorized this stuff, but I make too many recipes that have so many different things in them. I can't memorize it all. I probably would get pretty close if I just did it from memory, but I don't think I would be fully there. 2 teaspoons of salt, and then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder. Again, garlic, onion, and smoked paprika, as well as seasoned salt, are my go-tos. Okay, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and then we're gonna do 1/2 teaspoons of chili and smoked paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. And then I put 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, but I just kind of eyeball it because I don't always like to open this thing. That looks good. Whatever. You don't even have to add the turmeric if you don't want. It gives it a nice color. And hold on. In here we have our 2 cups of cashews, our 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 3/4 cup nutritional yeast, 2 teaspoons of salt-ish. You don't have to do quite that much if you don't want. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika and chili powder. You can see it there. And then turmeric all over there. Now we're gonna blend it on up. Okay. So here is our beautiful cashew cheese. So now, if it was a little thinner, I would put it on the stove, or if I wanted to warm it up for like a hot nacho cheese dip, I would do that, evaporate the water. But we sometimes just do this and then heat it up on our own before putting it on tacos and things like that. And I always have enough in this recipe to make like 2 rounds, enough to freeze one. And it freezes really beautifully. Okay, let's see. Smells so good. This is one of my mother-in-law's favorite things that I make. So I often will make a little extra for her. It's now been 2 years in a row that she's asked for some of the nacho cheese for her birthday as one of her like homemade birthday gift basket things. Okay, I'll probably scrape the rest of that out later. Can't waste anything. Okay, so that's quick, beautiful nacho cheese. We'll put this on top of probably purple sweet potato tortillas that I also make. For dinner tonight, we're gonna have the fried tofu tacos, and this is our cheese for that. They're so delicious. I will show you when we're back to start, as they start frying the tofu, but we'll probably be shaking it in the flour first, and I'll show you that. But that'll be closer towards this evening. See you soon. Okay, so we are going to add all of our tofu that's been marinating into this flour and shake it up. I literally essentially just dump. Should we get all of that goodness in there? Get all those little pieces. All that flavor. You can see all the tofu, flour, put a top on, and shake, shake, shake. Just toss it. Okay, should be pretty good. And whatever flour is left, we use for a second time, like in a day or two. You can see here. There's excess flour, but everything in here is covered. And as I mentioned multiple times, we will use this flour 2 times. Takes like 2 blocks of tofu. 2 full blocks will take up all this flour. So any excess flour will be used next time. Okay, so we have our tofu. This is avocado oil because avocado oil has a really high heat point. And you just start putting them in. Like that.
A family favorite here.
Well, how long would you say we leave these in here? 5 minutes? Goes really quick.
Yeah, 5-ish.
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 Come check them out soon.
Perfect. Got a little crispy outer. So tender inside.
Look at that bubbling. Looks like little kind of like fried chicken pieces.
Better than
So
chicken.
beautiful. So good.
Chicken wishes it could be tofu, but it's made by my wife.
So good. The smell too is like ridiculous. The boys, the little ones,
And
they
the piece
just,
de resistance.
oh,
The tiny bits.
Billy likes putting those in.
They're like shrimp poppers.
Like little tiny shrimps. That's like, I mean, they taste little texture and just like the size. Little babies. I was
you're
dancing. I was dancing to your chopping.
I just thought you were having a spasm.
This is the most gorgeous,
Oh, but it's
like tri-colored tomato. Oh yeah, cilantro.
fresh cilantro avec fleur.
No, seriously, this is a garden fresh, salsa mix, fresh salsa.
Some would call it pico.
So
I get some
there's
pico.
cilantro, chives, green onions, tomatoes, all of the things. What
Garden
else is in
fresh.
here? Garden
Literally
fresh.
garden
It's
fresh.
so beautiful too. Okay, we're gonna just load this on the tacos. So yeah, and some garden fresh lettuce, that's coming next. Okay, so we took our tortillas, just zapped them in the microwave for a little heat. I would normally do for like 3 to 5 minutes at 300 degrees in the oven if you have the time, but we don't got the time today. And then I just zapped my cashew cheese that we made earlier. And that is layered on the taco first. And then we put down the fried tofu bites. And now we're putting on this beautiful fresh salsa. And then we're gonna add some garden fresh lettuce. I like when I cut my lettuce. Oh, you haven't washed that yet.
Oh, I did, but I guess I'm
Oh
watching
my
it again.
gosh, it's so dirty. You did not. He says he washed it. It's like total brown.
Oh, I mean, there's brown on it, but that
No,
ain't
that
coming
was
off.
just dirt.
Okay, there's some dirt on there, but now it's good. Remember,
Oh my
dirt is good for your
goodness.
microbiome.
Yeah, not like the whole field. Okay. This is dirty too, bro. That you can wash that again. Okay, you can have those ones on yours. These will be mine. Okay. So I like to like kind of just like fold it up in a bit and then let me move this off to the side and just kind of go in like a little, I don't even know what I'm doing. Just go down. And then you have these like beautiful, like long strips, these beautiful strips that are perfect for the tacos. Beautiful long strips. You can cut your dirty pieces for yours. That's
I
funny.
will.
That's
Taking
funny.
solace in that it was grown fresh in our garden.
Taking back some of that.
And this goes in the composter.
Oh yeah.
No paper
All
towels
paper
wasted
towels
here.
go in the compost. Look at how cute. These are little cilantro. Where's the camera on here? These are little cilantro flowers when the cilantro bolts because it gets too hot out. It has these little flowers and they're edible and they're so cute. So I'm gonna have cute little flower touch on there. Okay, I'm gonna put this a little differently. Maybe I'll just, there we go. That's what's up. So cute. So cute.
I already have some pre-cut lettuce from last night with some
yeah?
beet greens in there for me because I'm a big
Perfect.
beet guy.
And there's arugula in there from the garden too.
Mm-hmm. And some lime.
Yay.
To top it off.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, make your food so pretty and
Food that mirrors my wife. I mean life. I mean wife.
he is always like this, yes. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. There's only enough, we didn't take enough flowers for everyone, so mom gets the flowers. I'm taking these flowers. I know he doesn't care. Gosh, how cute.
I think I need to
Okay, let me show the other side of this. Okay, here's the other angle. Look at those cute little flowers. So beautiful. And these are my beautiful purple sweet potato tortillas that we're officially out of, which is why we're using spinach tortillas as well, which are also great. And then I have a bunch of sourdough tortillas, which is all for another video, but look at how beautiful. And it tastes probably even better than it looks.
Can't forget a little heat for your meat.
And some beautiful fresh lime juice. We grew these. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We did not.
These avocados we did.
Okay, maybe one day in another climate, another life. Okay.
Jason Mraz grows
Do you want me to be doing your limes or are you doing yours? Jason Mraz. He's a vegan. He's a plant-based
He's got good taste.
guy.
I will do mine because I'm going to put some of my lettuce on. I'm going to put some avocado on. I'm going to put some of my hot
I
sauce
just
on.
licked my fingers and then touched the whole thing of this. Whatever. Okay. I think I'm just
You
going to
just
do a
made it
little,
better.
little sriracha. Call it a day.
Nice.
I can't resist. I'm going to take a bite.
Nice.
Purple sweet potato tortillas are phenomenal. I'll do a video on that. I make these with 4 ingredients. Purple sweet potato, olive oil, a little bit of salt, and flour. So good.
And it's not that this is great for tofu tacos. This is the best taco I've ever had. And that's what I've realized about plant-based cooking, is that it's not the steak that tasted good on the steak taco, it's the seasoning and the way you prepped it. And when you take that TLC and you put it into tofu, oh my God, you get all of that goodness without any of the BS saturated
He's absolutely
fat.
right.
No cholesterol.
I have nothing else to say. I'm just gonna eat. It's so good.
I get the crumbs. I get to lick your plate.